Good day, friends. I hope you're doing really well. My name is Tracy Brown. I'm your somatic nutrition therapist and attuned eating expert. And this week we've been talking about movement, and there's this. I guess there's just so much programming. I just want to put it out there too, and just jump right into the video. Is that there's just so much programming around the idea if you just had enough willpower, you could stop exercising compulsively, and you could start moving when your body feels like you need to, even if you don't feel like it. And when we just kind of plow through and white knuckle through, on very, very rare occasions, I see people be able to just I don't know, white knuckle and get through whatever barriers they have. But most of the time, we need to take a minute to slow down and try to understand, I'm not getting a Nike contract here. I'm not going to get a scholarship for something that sets my family up for 10 generations here. That's not what we're doing. It's we have a body, and we want to be able to take some level of care and actually do activities that make us feel alive and connected, and that's all great. And so here's this beautiful thing we want: connection and maybe aliveness inside, if again we have the able-bodiedness and the desire to do that. That's something that's important to us intrinsically, not important because diet culture says it's important. But there's something about movement that feels like, gosh, I see it's a beautiful day and I kind of want to be out there and be a part of it. And then some other part of me is like, oh, I've got to do all these tasks, or if I don't do 30 minutes, it doesn't count. If you're stuck in that looping, one, just recognize that it's programming. That's all it is. Who says that walking around your house to get some sunshine on a beautiful day in the midst of your day isn't good enough? Who says? And let all that kind of flow out, so you can see oh, that's programming. My body's not keeping track or score that way. Why not do it in a way that feels reachable and manageable and feels agency? That's the whole thing, is that if we're moving constantly out of guilt or shame or paying penance for something we feel like we did wrong with our existence, whether it's food or just existing, then that's fear-based and that's shame-based, and it's just not going to last, which is why it's hard to keep going. So instead, as we've been talking about in these last two videos, why not, hey, what feels okay right now? And sometimes it's simply just standing up out of the chair you're in and just feeling your feet underneath you. And then check in with that. Does that feel like enough right now? Because does everything else feel like too big and too much? If the answer is yes, you don't necessarily have to override that if that's feeling like doing harm, and sit back down. And maybe you do that again every hour for the next couple hours until you feel like, wow, that didn't feel like a threat, and I didn't feel harassed, by whispers and stuff from the past or diet culture and right now, and build upon that. That's really a way to start from where you're at. This even this tiny little nugget or grain of sand that feels agencied and doesn't feel fear-mongering, and you start from there. And then you might find out over the course of weeks and months and even years that you've developed your own authentic relationship with movement. I know it sounds small, and I know it sounds slow, and maybe for some people oh, I'll never get anywhere. Okay, if you hear that panic, okay, where are you trying to get? What's going on? And again, settle back into being a compassionate witness to the parts that want to panic. If you feel like the way that will help you get back into movement, that's non-compulsive, that's not fear and shame based. If it's too slow, well, too slow for what? Too slow for whom? What's going on? And then you're able to back it back from there. Whatever the medical people say about how many minutes per week, and it's well, they're not including your history in this. They're just making some blanket recommendations. I'm not saying they're bad or wrong. It's just not taking into consideration your history with movement that has been basically kind of messed up a little bit from diet culture. So we take the time that we need to kind of come full circle to what feels the just right amount in your body, just like you do with food. So we do hunger fullness work with food. we're going to do the same kind of thing with movement. What's your hunger for movement? When is enough enough? When is a line that you find you're overriding just because it meets the 30-minute mark or somebody says so? And there's a difference. There's a difference inside your body between, well, I might as well, go to that tree because, I'm feeling pretty good and I didn't plan to go this amount, but, I'm okay. I'm cool with it. I might as well, versus like, oh my gosh, I have to make it to that tree. For what? Just to feel like you are a better person, because that's not your value and worth. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video series, that our movement is not our value and worth. These are things that we just want to do because maybe we have a body that can do it, and it helps us feel alive and feel connected. And whatever intrinsic motivations you might have personally for movement as well. So again, we were trying to move from like compulsivity and total avoidance to this place, like there's movement in it where we can do more, do less. It all has nothing to do with the size of your body and your worth. Okay. All right, thank you all so much for watching. If you have any other questions, concerns, even I would love to hear, honestly, some testimonies from you all. Like, what's your journey with movement? I'm going to put it in some of the blog posts this week about my journey with it, from like compulsivity to nothing. And then, it's still kind of honestly in progress, where it's like some seasons of life I don't do hardly anything. And then I will never be compulsive again. There's just no draw to it. And part of that is because when we work on our identities just inherent to exist, you find that you don't need movement to prove that you deserve to be here in any kind of way, shape, or form. So I hope and I'm praying all that for you as well. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you everybody who came live. It's so good to see your names on the screen. And if you have any questions below or comments, anything you want to share, I would love to hear about it. So thank you so much. Take care and bye for now.